Welcome back, everybody. Today we have the Ethirteen Helix R cassette, and I'm pretty excited to try this cassette out because it varies a little bit from the typical Shimano and SRAM cassettes in the sense that instead of having a 10th tooth cog at our smallest gear here, we have a 9 tooth, which is kind of cool. I was looking for a different cassette because the XO1 did wear out on me and the chain was kind of getting caught, wouldn't shift properly, and the shift quality went downhill. And I did try adjusting the derailleur and check the hanger, chain, everything was right. At which point I went ahead and I tried this GX, which is not so worn, and the bike shifted great. So with that being said, I went ahead and I ordered a new cassette for the Santa Cruz High Tower, and this is the Helix R. It's a 12-speed cassette, and it's a 2-piece design, which is a 1-piece CNC steel piece, which is really nice. And our 50 tooth is an aluminum piece. And this color is called Intergalactic. It's actually really nice looking. It's kind of got like a oil slick color to it. It's a nice piece of bike jewelry.
I love jewelry.
But we're gonna go ahead and get some weights on these things just to compare it to the XO1 and the GX cassette, and we're gonna slap it on the wheel here, which I'm pretty excited to do. It's gonna be a little different than a regular cassette install, but we'll walk through it and show you how it's done. This cassette will come in 2 different boxes. You'll get your 9-tooth cluster here in a separate box, and then you'll get your 50-tooth cluster in a separate box, and these come in different colors. Like, again, this is the Intergalactic color or oil slick, and inside the box they have a couple warnings that say here stop. Apparently for Hope hubs
Today, Junior.
there's a different install instruction for them, and they do include a special shim kit for Hope hubs. And in here there'll also be a spacer in case you need a spacer for your specific hub or for the Hope hub. It'll all be detailed in the instructions. And you also get some stickers. I got 1 sticker for each item that came in, and 2 packs of grease, which is kind of nice, so we don't have to use ours. So we're going to start off by getting a couple of weights on these cassettes and seeing where they're at. Kind of keep record of what weighs what. Now I'm going to measure everything in grams. We'll go ahead and zero this out. And we're going to start off with the GX cassette. Now the GX cassette is 451 grams. The XO1 is 367 grams. Now we'll check out the Helix R. 392. It's a little bit heavier than XO1. But I didn't want to spend $400 and something on an XO1 cassette, and I didn't really want to gain the weight back from the GX cassette on the wheel. So I went ahead and went with this. I got this at 25% off, so I paid like $2 something for it. And I think for the price point, it's pretty good. The other cassette I was looking at was the Garbaruk, which is a lot lighter than this. I think it's 260 grams advertised. Maybe 357, which is lighter than the XO1 cassette. But, you know, at the price point and the color, this sounded like a better plan for me at 25% off. And you guys check Ethirteen. Every once in a while they'll have these sales where they'll sell their chain rings or their cranks or something at 25% off, and they have some pretty cool sales. The one thing that's going to be somewhat different with the install on this cassette is the fact that it's got some locking tabs in here where it actually locks into the CNC chain, CNC cluster, and this will actually pinch onto the free hub, which we'll go ahead and do here in a minute. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it should be a little bit more of a pain to get on and off the bike to service a hub compared to the other ones, but you know, it's always nice to try new things and see how they roll. But let me get the wheel and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, now that we have our wheel up on the workbench here, we're going to go ahead and open this grease packet. And we're going to put some grease on our free hub as instructed by Ethirteen. And the instructions they do mention to go ahead and grease this up. Okay, that's all greased up. Now we'll go ahead and grab the cassette. Alright, so we're going to take the grease that came with it, we're going to put a little bit more in the free hub. And then we'll put some in the actual cluster here, just to help get it on. Now this should have a two-step process to put this on. It'll first go on the top here, kind of spin it till you feel the teeth. And that's where the teeth are. Now it'll pop in. And now we're prepared for the rest of the cluster install. Now before we move forward, we have to go ahead and tighten down this little bolt here, and it has to be tightened down to 3 Newton meters with a torque wrench. I'm going to use 27 inch-pounds because I don't have a Newton meter wrench, which is about the same. That's it. Now that our bolt is tight, we're going to go ahead and put our lower cluster. We're going to take some more grease that they provided, and we're going to put it in one more spot here before we put this on. And that will be on the inside of this bushing here, which rests on the remainder of the free hub to distribute the weight. So we're going to go ahead and grease that really well. Don't be shy with it. Use the whole packet if you need to. Okay, now we're going to face, there's a little locking symbol here with a clover and the bolt hole. And on the actual cluster, there will be a little tab here that says 1 Newton meter, and we're going to line those up. Okay. Now it says you can use a chain whip to go ahead and put this on, but I'm going to use the cassette tool to torque that into that lock position there. Okay, so we've got that tightened up. Now I did have to put this on the floor, and unfortunately I don't have enough hands to hold the camera while I put some torque on this, but the tolerances are so close between the lower cluster and the upper cluster that you really have to put some power into it. Now once it clicks in, you'll feel an abrupt pop, and it'll go from the unlock to the lock symbol here where it says 1 Newton meter. Now in the packaging you will get this one little lock bolt, this tiny little thing, and that will go right in there. And now it already has Loctite on there, so you don't have to really put Loctite in that, but we're going to go ahead and pop that in. And we're going to tighten that to 1 Newton meter. And that should be flush once it's all tightened up. So I don't have a torque wrench that will actually measure down to 1 Newton meter, which is about 8 inch-pounds, 9 inch-pounds. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to just do the old good and tight method here. It's 1 Newton meter and it has Loctite, so we don't really have to worry about, going crazy to keep this in its place. And it should be flush with the cassette here, so you shouldn't feel it. Okay, that's nice and tight. And that's it, we're finished. Now, it's ideal to change your cassette with your chain and your chain ring if you're going to do a big change like this. But you know, if you have a newer chain ring and newer chain, you're just changing out the cassette, I mean, it's up to you. You can run it that way, but it's best if you change everything at once, just so you have everything new. I'm going to be changing to a 32 tooth absolute black that someone is selling me that's fairly new, that they just want to swap out to a bigger size. So we'll give this a shot. I'll do a review on this in a couple of months and see how it works. I don't know that many people that are riding this, but hopefully it works out well. If you guys have any questions or concerns or any ideas, go ahead and put them in the comments or message me at RideDirtyMTV on Instagram. But yeah, let's see how this works out. I hope you guys get out and ride.